blew up both of them.
Right.
So the illusion of choice was just a social experiment just to see which side would win.
Yeah.
Would bad guys do the right thing, or would good people do the bad thing?
Yeah.
Or vice versa. And although he gave them no choice, he was just testing society to see what was happening.
Yeah, and then he's got one mission in mind. In my mind, knowing that Batman's the only person coming to save everybody, it's just him doing his thing regardless, but he's just fully caught up in seeing how Batman's going to react to this, in his noble effort to, save Gotham from Joker's inevitable plan of, just destruction.
Well, he's like, at the end of the movie, when Batman finally catches him, he's like, sometimes all you need to give society is a little push, and then lets off this maniacal laugh. He's like, just to cause chaos even more.
I think my favorite scene from that movie, as far as Joker's character and his take on just his chaos and his just his essence, is when he's got, what's her name? Rachel. He's got Rachel in his arms
at the party.
At the party, and he's like, dang, he's got her overreaching.
I know where you're going.
Yeah, and Batman goes, let her go, and he just hysterically starts
Bad choice of words.
Poor choice of words, and he lets her go.
And that's him.
Yeah, and just
that is the perfect Joker. It's just like, I'm gonna play a trick on you only because you said the wrong thing.
And just watch Batman run past him. His eyes are full of amusement as Batman just leaps over the edge of the skyscraper.
Yeah, which also
doesn't try to stop him. Doesn't try to ship him.
Which
it's
also
diabolical.
shows a character flaw in Batman is that he cares about one person rather than saving the rest of the people at the party from the Joker.
Right. Yeah, hyper analytical of us to be thinking about this, but
true. But it's a great movie.
Right. It's a
so
great
good.
Movie. Yeah, it's so good.
And like, I like that realistic style of Batman.
Yeah.
Where it's like everything that happens is explained. Like when he's talking to Fox.
Yeah.
Everything is like relatively reasonable.
Yeah.
Where the Batmobile is reasonable. All of his gear is explained, and it's like this like Q moment from 007 where Q talks to him and gives him the weapons.
Who's
like
Q?
Q's the guy that makes all the...
Forgive me. I don't know.
Q's the guy that makes all the cool stuff. Like, here's your exploding
For
pen.
007?
Yes.
Okay.
Or here's your gun that is matched to your fingerprints or whatever. Yeah. So Q is the quartermaster. He gives them all the stuff.
What an interesting name. Was he bald?
Back in the day, he was.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Is that where the name comes from, you think?
No, I mean, Q was just quartermaster.
Okay.
So, because all the names in James Bond, like M is mother, Q is quartermaster.
Yeah.
All the names have like they're a shortened name of what they actually are. It's like their abbreviation. Anyway.
Okay.
But in those Batman movies, like every gadget that he has is explained earlier in the movie. Mm-hmm. So when he says, this suit is great for spelunking. You plan on doing any spelunking? And he's like, not really sure. So he paints it black, and he's going to be diving off of skyscrapers with his bat suit. Now, it's all technology that is used or supposedly plausible. So you've got a suit of body armor that can stop a bullet but not stop a knife. That sounds very reasonable because, like, Kevlar and stuff like that.
Sure.
You can stab right through it.
Yeah.
But a bullet, it'll stop a bullet.
Right.
Which totally plausible. It's totally real. Whereas, like his cape, the way they explained it is like it's electrostatically charged or something. And it just works. And I like that realism in explaining how Batman can work in the real world. Mm-hmm. Where on his normal day driving around, he's driving a Lamborghini Reventon, this fancy car, which totally matches his style.
Yeah.
And it's still blacked out and it looks good, but it's really grounded. And I think that's...
And they're thorough and intentional about what he uses and why.
Yes.
But they really don't harp on it.
Yes.
And the way it's filmed, it's a short and sweet take, but it's succinct and right to the point, where they give you enough information to know the function of it and just enough to really allow you to imagine how he's going to put it to use later in the movie.
Right. Well, and then you get to Bane.
Wait, okay, so now we're talking about The Dark Knight Rises. So it's The Dark Knight, and then The Dark Knight Rises is part 2, and there's a third one. Right?
There's a third one. We're getting them.
I'm blanking.
There's Batman, Dark of the Night. Dark of the Night? I think that's what it is. And then Dark Knight Rises.
It's The Dark Knight Rises, and then...
there's whatever the third one is.
Dark Knight, I forgot.
Anyway.
Yeah, anyway.
But Bane, great written character.
Yeah.
And that's what's interesting from the comics is that Bane, he's displayed as this hulking character.
Sure.
But he's actually incredibly intelligent. And it's kind of
played by
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy, which I love. I love Tom Hardy.
Got jacked for that movie.
Yep.
And just a terrifying sight. And the first time you see him in the plane,
believable. You almost forget you're watching a movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, is this guy like for real right now? Like, takes the bag off his head, and suddenly you know that he's already in charge of that whole plane. Like, you thought he was the prisoner, and come to find out, everybody else in the plane.
Yeah.
He did that on purpose.
Right.
They're the prisoner, not him.
He's so dead-eyed too.
Yes.
In his approach.
Yes.
Yeah, and honestly, Tom Hardy, because prior to that movie, and honestly, the whole when did this movie come out?
It was probably years ago. 2012.
Yes, and I think I was young enough to not know who Tom Hardy was.
Yes.
Because prior to that movie, I can't really put Tom Hardy or connect him to any other. Because
this is pre-Venom. This is pre. Because he was in Peaky Blinders as well.
Which I never saw. But I hear it's great.
You should.
Yeah.
We're watching it right now.
Okay.
Great show. You would like it.
Yeah.
Just awesome show.
Yeah. It's consistent, I think, a lot with... what's that other one? It's Peaky Blinders that's really popular. And then...
It's kind of a different take of Yellowstone.
Yeah. It's like
1823
it's a more sophisticated
and
mob.
Yeah.
Western.
It's like, I believe it's just after World War One. So I think season 1 starts in 1919.
1919.
So it's like everyone's just back from war. People are shell-shocked. They don't know how to handle PTSD yet. And throughout the show, you see them progress through the time. Yeah. But it's super interesting. You definitely need to watch it. You would like it.
Okay, so I like how we're going right now. So now we can play. Guys, my name's Chris.
My name's Harley.
And this is the podcast that covers it?
Almost.
So anyway, just quick rundown on Harley and I. We met, 3 years ago now?
I think it was
no.
a year and a half ago.
About a year ago we met. Harley and I met.
I guess it had to have been July 4th.
Yeah.
Because...
okay, so Harley...
Let's get into it.
Yeah, so he's Harley, I'm Chris. We both go to this dance hall in Pflugerville. Best place to go dancing or two-stepping.
Mavericks.
Hands down. Mavericks dance hall in Pflugerville and Buda, but Pflugerville North. So I saw Harley wearing a cowboy hat, and he had an American bandana around it.
It had to have been July 4th, because that's the only time I wear that.
Otherwise, I'd be like, dude.
I'm just American.
Okay. Yes.
I mean, can you tell?
It was... I had to comment on it. And in all honesty... so I'd never seen him before, never met him.
We had never talked.
Yeah, never talked. But I dated a girl, and she had mentioned this guy named Harley, who she had seen at Mavericks. And I was like, that's a very unique name. So it stayed in my mind. It lingered. And that night that I saw you, obviously the bandana was a cue for me. I was like, okay, I need to comment on that. I need to tell this guy that I like what he's doing. So, and then, Harley and I basically exchanged words over the next 3 weekends or so. Just subtle commentary on everything happening before us.
And then finally, from my side, my friends were like, hey, I think we know Chris from somewhere. And so we started putting two and two together. Turns out we had dated the same person.
The same girl. Yeah.
Didn't know.
Yeah.
And then, so I go to ask him about it, and he's like, oh yeah, I know who you are. I'm like,
yes.
what?
Yeah. So yeah. You had given me your name. I think like a weekend or 2 weekends before, and I was like, crap.
Surely
I only know one Harley.
Person,
yeah,
right.
One Harley, and so I said, fine, it is what it is. At that point, we kind of had back and forth for 3 weekends?
Yeah.
Where we talked to each other, seen each other.
Just casual, talking about work, talking about dancing,
yeah, so we were pretty much becoming bros, so to speak.
Yeah.
And so at that point, I saw no point in bringing it up because I didn't have anything against you. You didn't have anything against me. Well, 2 weekends later, or whatever he just alluded to, he brings it up. He's like, "Did you ever date a girl?" And I was like, "Yes, I know. I put 2 and 2 together. I know you dated her." And so after that, we just kept hanging out. And Harley and I just recently took up a new cigar lounge here in Pflugerville.
Just to have conversations.
East Pecan Cigar. Go check it out.
Yes.
East Pecan Cigar.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yes.
Those guys are cool.
Really cool guys. And so we just started, we go and meet up for a smoke. And Harley and I had really good back and forth. And
I mean, we would only plan to go there for maybe an hour. And then we'd talk for
3-4 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like one night, I think we sat down at like 7 or 8 and we left at 11:30.
Yeah.
And we had finished the cigars hours before, but we just sat out there.
Yeah. Time really wanted to run off the clock. And honestly, as long as we have breath in our lungs, we really don't run out of anything to talk about.
Yeah, we just won't talk about literally anything and everything.
Yeah.
Just roll through everything.
Yeah. And so one night we were like, why don't we just start a podcast, and see, maybe it'll take off, maybe it'll grow some legs of its own, and maybe just go somewhere and maybe help people out. But in all reality, we just wanted to talk about just anything and everything under the sun. And so that's kind of how we got to our name. So, we knew we wanted to talk about anything and everything, but obviously we don't have all the time in the world. So
hence, ... Almost.
Yes.
So we know we can't cover everything, and we won't cover everything about a subject in one episode. But we're going to try to cover it as much as we can. As much as we can.
It's a noble effort, right?
Yes.
And honestly, the name that we really liked was the All Things Considered podcast, but NPR had us beat there.
Sounds like they already taken it.
Yeah.
So.
The other one that we really liked was Off the Cuff. That's out there.
Yeah.
And then we also had The Untethered Take.
That was a good one.
That was a good one.
But I think we've landed on that covers it. Almost.
Yeah. And so the other one that I really liked too was For What It's Worth. And the long, anything and everything, almost. But the whole point of the joke, it was just a lighthearted, comical take on that reality that we could never really cover everything.
Right. And then, so you guys, whenever you're watching this first episode back, years later, so you can understand the joke, if somebody asked you, have you seen the podcast that covers it?
Almost. Confirmatory response.
There you go.
Yeah, so that's it. Anyway, so Batman. We're talking about Batman. So basically, on this day in history, 1966, guys.
First aired.
Yes. So in 1966, the TV show Batman debuts. The show starred Adam West as a character and Burt Ward as a sidekick Robin, with Cesar Romero portraying his nemesis the Joker. The show's campy themes, comedy, and formulaic plots quickly made it a hit. Although the show only aired for 3 seasons, it was wildly popular and hugely influential. And
there was a movie that came out the same year.
Which I had, crazy enough. I just remember my mom buying me this this DVD, and it was a Batman and Robin. And I just remember putting it in, and in my mind at that time, being a kid, being consumed with every piece of Batman media you can imagine.
Right.
The comics, action figures, where Batman just looks so tough and dark and daunting. And I just remember seeing Batman in that goofy, skinny suit.
Just silly. Silly Batman.
Yeah, so I'm like, it's so strange in retrospect thinking about me as a kid watching that and just knowing as a kid, man, this is lame. Whatever this is lame.
Like Batman should be brooding and tough and not like silly, campy Batman.
The kind of guy you're going to run to if something's going wrong.
Exactly.
Not the kind of guy you want to go and laugh at.
Yes.
So anyway, so that was today's day in history. And obviously we started the podcast with talking about, in my opinion, and I'm sure you probably agree, we're in the same boat, that the Dark Knight series was the best Batman.
I think that
Christian
has
Bale.
to be the best. Christian Bale, perfect Batman.
Hands down. Yeah.
Brooding, not so depressed as our newest Batman.
Yeah.
Which is
Robert
Edward.
Pattinson. Edward.
Edward.
Edward. Yeah.
But yes,
Speaking of,
which is good. It's good.
I
It's just
will
not the
say
same.
I like the sinister take.
True. It's
Like-
a very young Batman that
Yeah.
we haven't seen before, where he's very brooding, very like dark,
Yeah.
does not have anything figured out.
Yeah.
I watched a whole thing about the new Batmobile.
Okay.
Where it's just a 69 Challenger that they just ripped apart, and it all is built to look like he built it from scratch. So
Where'd you find this? This is
there's an Instagram page out there that is doing all the behind the scenes for all these movies. I'll send it to you.
Cool.
It's really cool. But it had the breakdown of the car, and they made like 7 different ones. One for jumping, one's for crashing, one for like the hero car, one that shoots flames out the back, just for all the different shots.
Wow.
But it was a very grounded. So I do appreciate that in the same way that the Christian Bale ones and the Dark Knight series was very grounded. This one was as well.
Yeah.
Where it's very hands-on. He's done it himself. I mean, he takes off the cowl and he has literal black paint around his eyes.
Yeah.
Never been explained before. It's like you rip off the cowl and somehow...
You mean Robert Pattinson?
Yes, Robert
Yeah.
Pattinson. Where he rips off the cowl and he's got black paint.
Right.
Where
I remember
that's
seeing that in
totally real.
theaters, and I was like, yeah, like that has to happen at some point.
Yeah. Because
And
it's
you-
not going to be perfectly around your eyes.
And you don't even get a glimpse of when that's happening in the Christian Bale series.
No, he's either in costume or he's out of costume.
Right.
You never see him
Like transitional, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He either has the full costume on or the full, normal outfit.
Right. And all the other thing I really appreciated was the realistic take on what martial arts would look like
Against
in
a lot of
Batman
dudes.
suit. Yeah. And he was quick, he was agile, he was reactive, whereas in The Dark Knight, I think they were constantly alluding to his inability to really move his neck and to turn his neck. Because he wasn't mobile at all.
Which was even worse in, what was the Batman before? They just did him, Michael Keaton's Batman.
Oh, dude, I can't speak.
But he had an even worse time with his neck. So if you go back and look at some of the shots, I mean, you see him literally turn his neck and he's like, he cannot move anything. He's just like...
It's like an old person in shock after they just heard something that really offended them.
I mean, it's just a full neck brace. Just
Yeah.
you gotta look up the videos. There's a whole snippet of all of them put together on YouTube. You gotta see it.
I'm gonna have to watch that. But like Robert Pattinson in the movie, it's so believable.
Right.
It's how you probably want to at least conduct yourself if you're getting ambushed by like 10 guys at
And
once.
you see him physically tired.
Yes.
After.
Yeah.
He's just beat up.
Yeah.
Like he gets back home and he starts taking off all the layers, which again still cool. Takes off. He's got paint on his eyes, of how you would have.
Yeah.
And he takes off all these armor, and he's still bruised underneath. Like he has a suit, but it's not a full protection suit. It's not like he's invincible.
Right.
He's just a dude with some heavy armor on.
Yeah.
But you're still taking a punch to the gut.
And you're still taking a punch, and there's obviously repercussions to engaging in that kind of an exchange, right? And I think what I also liked was that you can really tell their demeanors are different in, at least in one way, being that when Robert Pattinson's going out there, he seems fed up and determined, whereas Christian Bale's demeanor is very much like he's just expecting everything going on, and he's just going to go and take care of business.
Well, he says in the...
With almost no emotion involved in it.
He's just cleaning up the city as almost as a cop.
Right.
Whereas the Robert Pattinson one, he literally says in the movie that he is vengeance.
Wow. I forgot about that.
So he's not just out there to solve the crime. He's literally calling himself vengeance.
Yeah.
He is the antithesis against the crime that's happening.
And I can't remember, is the main villain being portrayed in the new Batman? Who is that? Or is it just crime?
It was...
it's his addressing of the crime in Gotham, right?
Correct, but the main villain is technically the Riddler. But it's a
Because of the end.
Yes. It's a really dark version of the Riddler, and they took a lot of the Zodiac Killer back in I think it was the 70s, I think.
Right.
We'll have to research. But back then, which there's a bunch of really good movies out there about it. I highly recommend. They're super scary. I'm not a big scary movie guy myself. But
so sad. Such a tragedy.
Yes. I can't remember how many people the guy killed. But I think they found the person that it is. But anyway, they based that Riddler off of the Zodiac Killer.
That's insane.
So that's why he has like the plastic bag over his face and he's got the glasses. I mean, it's almost one for one of what the Zodiac Killer is.
Yeah.
Like the description of him, the pictures that we have of him, or the sketches and all that.
I'm going to have to draw that parallel because I know there was a page on YouTube, like you alluded to, that was kind of taken on the vehicles. But there was one that was drawing the differences and the progression of the plot throughout the movie. And that's something all that comes to the screen at the end of the movie, right? The whole Riddler.
Right, he discovers that all this chaos that's going on, very similar to Heath Ledger Joker causing chaos, but Riddler is doing it in a more intensive way and in a purposeful way, not just to cause chaos.
Yeah.
He's purposely causing chaos to have a goal, not just to have no goal, other than just to cause chaos.
Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason to it.
Right.
Just, yeah, dude, they're coming out with another one, right?
Yes.
A follow-up?
Yes.
The second one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it hasn't come out yet, has it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
That one, I'm looking forward to seeing it. I think it'll be good.
Yeah.
But I like this dark Batman that just doesn't have it
It's
figured
a new
out.
take, yeah. It's refreshing because we've just seen his constant struggle with the three movies. But they were great. Anyway.
Right. So we've seen
But I
all these different... I digress. I think that covers it.
Yeah, almost.
Almost. But one other thing we were going to talk about. So speaking of dancing, I heard you had a song for us.
Yeah, so, man, I started going to Mavericks Dance Hall 2023. And Austin, a lot of people aren't aware of one-stepping, but and from what I gathered in my time here in Austin, one-step was very much an Austin thing. I can't speak to whether that's, true.
I don't know if it is. I mean, I grew up only doing two-step here.
Yeah, but but the thing is, the Austin one-step or whatever they deemed it.
Walking.
I grew up doing that my whole life because I'm Mexican, Hispanic, whatever you want to call it. And so that's how you kind of dance to the Harlem music and other music along.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, Austin one step, fine, or whatever. But I'd never done it to country music, so all that was very refreshing and very enjoyable for me personally.
Which there are some great songs out there, which we want to share some with you.
Yeah, and so for me this week, the one that I was really thinking about was Cheating by the Rules by Midland, which I love Midland. They're easily part of my top 10 country artists.
All right. You want to play it for us?
Yeah, I'll play it. So obviously for copyright reasons, we're gonna cut this out.
Go listen to it. We'll jump back in.
Yeah, we'll come back to it right after we finish playing it.
So we're just gonna listen to it, grab some things about it, and then we'll be right back. Why do you like it?
Well, one, it's Midland.
It's Midland.
It's freaking Midland.
Yeah.
And they're...
I'm surprised I've never heard that song yet.
Yeah.
It's
a bit of a hidden gem. No, I only heard it because I've got, my own radio station on... Not my own, but I've got a radio station on Pandora, just under Midland.
Right.
And typically I'm gonna be honest, if I ever find new music by artists that are established that I know I like, I typically skip.
Right.
Because
same.
Honestly, if I'm being honest, there's a small part of me that fears I might not like the song. And approach every other song that comes out with that same headspace. But so one night, obviously, I was in the shower and I couldn't get out and skip. And dude, what I love about Midland is their music is genius in that their wordplay is just amazing. Yes. They have really good wordplay with their lyrics. And so it's Cheating by the Rules. It's talking about...
and that's a one-step, isn't it?
Yes. Oh, yeah. So back to the point. Cheating by the Rules is a one-step. Yes, because it's a little bit faster. The pace is a little faster.
Yeah. Think like walking to a song if you've never been out country dancing
Walking
before.
with a limp is a great way to put it. Yeah.
Just pimp walking around the dance hall.
Kind of, yeah. But the biggest thing I always tell people or people that I dance with, women, right, is when you're dancing, just feel the music, go with the rhythm of the song. If it doesn't feel right, you're probably not doing it right.
Yeah, I mean, what I tell people all the time when I'm teaching them how to dance is I always tell people, go put on country music and just walk around your house.
Walk around the house.
That's it.
Yeah.
You don't have to dance. Just walk around and get the beat of the song, because once you know what the beats are, then you can learn all the steps. Like 2 steps is going to be harder than doing it 1 step. Waltz even after that.
And it might feel uncomfortable, but if you can't even do that by yourself, forget having 20 people around you with snobby looks and people.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's the best people watching spot ever.
Hands down.
But it's also the reverse of that. So you're going to be the one looked at while you're on the dance floor. So
that song, it's a very easy 1 step. And I've always said that you can 2-step to any song, and you've got the confidence and you've got
we need to
rhythm.
do a whole podcast about just songs that are great 2-steps or great songs to dance to that aren't country songs. Oh, I've got a ton of them.
Yeah, and
like old rock songs. We got to do.
And in all honesty, I don't think I've ever taken myself to that place.
Really?
No, because I don't know. So I only listen to country music. I listen to rock. You know, a plethora of different genres for rock specifically.
Right.
And then outside of that, I'm a sucker for piano. I'm a bit of a romantic. Those closest to me know that.
Right.
But
I know.
Yeah. And then outside, I mean, I do listen to some hip hop and rap when I'm working out. It just gets me. It gets me in a good place.
Right. Well, you need more up tempo when you're doing something outside,
exactly.
trying to work out.
But then again, when something like Midland comes along, that's just so catchy and catches the ears. Like people who don't even listen to country music, you can't hit the skip.
Yeah.
But
which that's a good one. I mean, I'm surprised. I've listened to a lot of Midland. I'm not familiar with the song, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But they need to add that to the list of songs to play.
Yep.
But
yeah, so that's mine.
So I've got one.
Alright. So guys, my phone ran out of storage, so I had to delete some videos.
So where were we? We talked about your song?
We talked about my song. You were going to mention your
song. So I've got a song for you today called High Hopes by Cameron Marlowe. And
High Hopes?
Yes.
Wow.
So it's a great song. Go listen to it. But I love this song. So Cameron Marlowe has been my new favorite that I've found so far.
What's that other song by him that's pretty notorious?
There's a bunch. So Ain't Enough Whiskey is really good by Cameron Marlowe.
By the way, all my caffeine is wearing off. I can feel it on my face. It's kind of
yeah. But Ain't Enough Whiskey is good. He just did a cover of Burning House, which amazing song.
Cameron
Marlowe.
Oh, Marlowe.
Yes.
Oh, I was thinking of Kane Brown.
No, Cameron Marlowe. So he's going to be in Austin, which that's going to be one of our things to talk about. But he's actually coming to see.
Sober as the Drunk is a song I've heard.
Sober as the Drunk?
Sober as the Drunk.
Yes. Also a good song.
Yeah.
But almost every song that I've heard from him has been great. Also fits right in my register to where I can sing his songs. So that's cool too to do for karaoke. But High Hopes, great song. So
is it a 1-step or a 2-step?
It's a waltz.
Oh.
Which I know you're not a big waltzer.
I'm not.
But I love to waltz. That's my favorite. So waltz is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. If you've never gone out dancing before, but it's one of my favorite waltzes.
I wouldn't waltz to Tennessee Whiskey though.
Oh yes.
If it's an older lady.
If it's an older lady.
Yeah.
Okay, fair.
Because it's just so waltzing to me is just so intimate. It's so intimate. It's it just
probably why it's my favorite.
Yeah, for sure.
But I love the waltz. I've got a whole playlist full of waltzes that are all good. But Cameron Marlowe, I swear, is my new favorite country artist.
Really?
And he's coming to Austin, I think in Cedar Park.
I didn't know he was having that kind of effect on you. He's one of that... Dude, so outside of that song and Sober as a Drunk, is there another song I might know?
I'd have to look. Let me see. So, I mean, he's got a lot of good songs, but let me see. Cameron.
Because honestly, I don't think I've ever heard his name outside of you really? Mentioning him. If you have mentioned him in the past, because his name didn't ring a bell.
He has a song with Ella Langley called Strangers, which is good. So we'll listen to a couple of these after.
Okay.
He's got another song called Girl on Fire.
Okay.
He's got a song called "Fix You 2" with Megan Maroney.
Okay.
So let's see what else they got. "Leaving to Me." Oh, great song.
Leave him to me.
Leaving to Me.
Okay.
So I'll bring some of these up next another time.
Okay.
But Tequila Talking is another one that might.
Any of these, bro.
Really? Okay, I'll send you his page.
He's either on the rise or I'm.
Yes. So I love catching when people are like still starting out.
You know who that I think he is too? What artist?
It stopped. Well, we got sound on there.
Yeah, we got some. Again,
But
production mishaps.
we're figuring this out.
Yeah.
So, Cameron Marlowe is great.
So guys, next episode we're gonna have mics, and I went out and bought everything today, but I missed one cord that literally would have taken this from a pebble on the sidewalk to Mount Everest. Honestly, because I bought we have a tripod, my phone, and
we got everything else. We got the lighting.
We have the mics. And the lighting too. I've got my alma mater behind me. I'm at Texas A&M Aggie class 21 gig 'em. Tough, real stuff, Texas A&M.
Texas Tech.
2019.
What'd you graduate in? What was your study?
I went to the business school. I studied marketing with a...
Did you have a minor?
I picked up a minor, but I never finished it. But my focus in marketing was in professional selling and selling management, sales management.
Okay.
Anyway. So next podcast, we're going to have everything grounded and situated, and production and the audio and the picture before you even should be a lot better.
Yes. But before we cover everything else, we got one more thing, and that's what's going on in ATX.
Oh, yes. Oh,
so I've got a thing, and it's about Cameron Marlowe.
Wait, I want to talk to you about the placebo effect.
Oh, are we going into this?
Yeah, so I tend to be a bit of a YouTube worm, so to speak. I love going down YouTube wormholes.
Okay.
If you know me closely, you know this about me. But the beauty of having a buddy and a friend like Harley is somebody who has the patience to really sit down and entertain the inner workings of your brain. As far as curiosity.
You just gotta sit and listen.
Because I can yap if you like.
Yes.
But Harley's one of those guys where we can truly talk about anything.
Mm-hmm.
But, the placebo effect, man, I went down some rabbit holes.
Okay.
And,
but
I thought of something funny we could do.
All right.
I thought of maybe putting into ChatGPT and letting it give us its take on it.
I was like, I kind of know what the placebo effect is, but this would be kind of funny.
Yeah, and just to address it from the get go, surface level, tip of the iceberg. Thinking of it as the sugar pill. The sugar pill example. Yeah. You get an Advil in one hand, you get a sugar pill in the other. To what effect is this quote unquote curing your incurable pain?
Right. Is it something that is the medicine that's actually causing it, or is it your own mind?
The idea of thinking that you took something that's going to address it or nip it in the bud before it gets worse.
Okay, so what is get ChatGPT to say it out loud? Let's see.
Honestly, I don't know
what it says.
So please explain the placebo effect to me. Let's make this a little comical.
As a 5-year-old?
Like I'm a 5-year-old completely detached.
Get descriptive.
From civilization.
Okay.
I can't. Where is this going to go?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Okay, but you can have it, I know, but you can have it say it out loud.
And honestly, ChatGPT, guys.
Amazing.
This girl that I dated. We will leave names out of this podcast.
Yes.
With discretion. Brilliant girl.
Or if we say them, we'll just bleep them out.
Yeah. And this girl, and honestly, I carried a torch for her, and I still do in my own mind. But she put me on to ChatGPT. I was so skeptical about it. So
what do I not get any credit?
Oh yes.
Come on.
Yeah. I mean, you put me on to some of the other facets of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so ChatGPT just said, okay, imagine you have a magic Band-Aid that you think can make you better. You put it on, even if it's just a regular Band-Aid, and somehow your body starts feeling better because you believe it will work.
Okay.
The placebo effect is when your brain tricks your body into feeling better because you think something is helping.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's not really doing anything special. It's like a secret power your brain has because you believe it will work. And, okay, so right off the bat, there's an element of belief.
Okay.
Connected to action.
Okay.
Okay, do you agree?
Yeah, that makes
sense. It starts
sense.
with believing that something's going to help you.
So your own mind can trick yourself, and you have to believe it that it's going to happen.
Would you say that that's like... Okay, because you're believing it, because it says you think you can... It'll make you feel better.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow, quote unquote, I'm adding the quotations, your body starts feeling better because you believe it will work. So it's when your brain tricks your body into feeling better because you think something is helping. So when I was watching this, I was wanting to draw parallels between that and just subliminal thinking.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, in this process, you're kind of cognizant of the possibility of maybe getting better if you do said action. Fill in the blank.
Right.
But anyway, I asked this thing to explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old. Do you was the
I think there's a little
Band-Aid
more
element? Was it the Band-Aid?
I guess because it was a Band-Aid?
But I'm detached from civilization.
Okay. Let's do like a 3-year-old.
Make me 3 years old.
It's gonna be curious.
I was expecting more of a chest beating explanation more than anything.
Goo Goo Gaga version.
Alright, imagine you have a boo-boo.
Still going with Band-Aids.
That tracks with a comprehension of a 3-year-old. And someone gives you a sticker to put on it, even though the sticker doesn't really do anything, you feel better because you think it will help. That's the placebo effect.
So a gold star.
Gold star. 3 at least.
So you can just get a gold star right on the forehead. You're already gonna feel better.
It's when your brain helps your body feel better just because you believe something will make you feel good, even if it's just a sticker.
Okay,
so belief has a big part to do with it.
So it's belief.
But okay, to what extent are you expecting a certain result? I mean, the certain result is getting better.
Right. Which is kind of like the whole mind over matter.
But yes,
get
exactly.
to that.
But can you still get the same effect even if you approach it with skepticism?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm taking this because I'm gonna feel better, but I'm not all convinced.
Like if you knew that you might be in the sugar pill control,
right?
Would you second guess that you're like, oh, it's not working?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
You're like, I'm definitely in the control.
Yeah, but anyway, we all take Advil. Mm-hmm. Unless you're just stoic, to a fault. Mm-hmm. For what? I don't know, but I've always taken Advil for inflammation, which doesn't even make sense.
Right.
Not Advil. Tiger Balm. Tiger Balm. I am a sucker for Tiger Balm. It's like Vicks.
Oh,
I'm sure somebody please out there.
Am I?
It's like
Do
it's
I
like
just
Vicks.
not know what this is?
It's like Vicks or Icy Hot.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's got the same like menthol, like that smell to it. I feel like it's got a hint of cinnamon, but anyway, it's got a little tiger on the cover. Nothing profound. It's just like a little tiny container. You just rub it on.
Okay.
But what this does is it brings heat to the area, which in a sense kind of distracts you or takes your mind's,
Like, is it actually healing you, or is it just making you have a different sensation that makes you feel like it should be feeling better?
It's almost that sensation is masking the underlying sensation.
Right. So, like, to take it to an extreme, it's kind of like when your parents tell you, hey, my foot's hurting, and your dad just stoically says, well, I'll stop with the other one and make you forget about that one.
Yes.
It's the same thing.
Spot on. But, I think at first application to some people might be a little overwhelming.
Right.
But I've always appreciated the aroma.
Okay.
So we were saying, guys, again, we just got cut off. So we just switched phones because I ran out of space.
Again?
Yes. Again. Next week, camera, its own SD card dedicated to it.
Way more
no limitations.
Yeah. Better sound.
Sky's the limit next week.
Good.
So yes, Tiger Balm.
Bomb.
Yeah, it's one of those.
I still don't know what this is.
Yes, and
I've still never heard about this.
Run to your nearest CVS, Walgreens, Walmart, HEB, preferably HEB.
It's just like a combination of Vicks and Icy Hot.
Something along those lines. Honestly, if I had to attribute it to something.
But it's your mind. It's your mind tricking you into thinking that you're okay. So the question is...
Well, no, this is cognizant.
Well, I know, but this is giving you a sensation to your mind, making you...
Yes. Kind of distracting you from the underlying pain.
Right.
Yeah, and so it's pretty good. I mean, I just broke some ribs recently.
Okay.
As you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I was putting that on my neck because for some reason some of the pain was running up my back.
Right.
And although the pain was excruciating and nothing really held a candle to this area.
Right.
As far as the pain, compared to it, putting some of the Tiger Balm on my neck, like tons of it, was really distracting me from my rib pain. If I was able to sit still.
In a different spot.
Oh,
okay.
And which is, I'm sure that's not the way it was intended to be used, but hey, if it works, it works.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I wonder if you can be strong enough in your mind where you can give yourself the placebo effect. Is that essentially fake it till you make it?
Alluding back to what you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Alluding to what you said earlier, the mind over matter.
Mm-hmm. It's like, is fake it till you make it the placebo effect?
Mm-hmm. That's the thing, but the placebo effect really takes action into consideration. I think that's one of its main components.
Like there's an external thing.
There's an active action.
Okay.
Which is, but then again, like, you're taking your thoughts captive and making a constant effort to dwell on something could easily distract you from something else.
In the opposite way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think.
Right.
Because if you can shift your perspective, not your perspective, your attention, for the sake of the example, if you were to shift your perspective from physical pain to something truly traumatizing, God forbid anybody's doing this, I would like to think if the trauma is strong and significant enough, overbearing and intolerable, I think you could definitely distract your
mental.
Yeah. Distract your mind.
I know where you're going.
Directing all your effort and your energy and your just comprehension to dwelling on trauma.
Right.
As opposed to physical pain. I think you could probably do that.
Yeah.
I can't speak to it because I've never done it, but in theory it sounds plausible.
So you're saying use a negative experience to forget about pain?
Yeah, I was really trying to connect that to mind over matter.
Okay. So in positive and negative.
The power of the mind.
Right. Depending on what you fill your mind with is going to depend on what your mind is using as the placebo effect.
Yeah.
So you could make whatever it is. You could make it positive. You could make it negative. Hopefully not.
Yeah, so basically what I was trying to say, I was trying to connect that to that possibly being the placebo effect. Because I guess, in essence, you're also taking action, which seems to be an element or main component of the placebo effect.
Right.
Is the act of doing something, thinking that it's going to help you.
Right. You have to put something on. You have to take something. You have to do something.
And I think controlling your thoughts and really channeling a certain energy or directing your thoughts towards a certain circumstance or go into a state of mind that just drains all of your energy, takes your attention and your focus to something completely, I hate to say it again for the sake of the example, something sinister. I think to some extent your mind would be alleviated from pain.
Right.
If that pain was strong.
Interesting. If the other pain was stronger.
I'm curious to see if that's a thing. But
yeah. I bet
initially that's where my mind took me.
Right. But on the positive side, like, let's stay on the positive.
Yeah.
For
the sake of our audience.
For the sake of our audience. The positive side is like, you can keep positive things around you. And I guess this is kind of the whole mindset of affirmations and like speaking to yourself in the right way and all that. Like,
self-talk.
That tracks. Because I feel like that all ties back into, I know it's what you're saying of like you need the physical action, but what if your physical action is telling yourself that like, you're good, you're doing well, like you're achieving your goals, and saying and making that as an action to do every day. I mean,
that's what you're describing there is the power of self-talk,
right? Which
is, I think, paramount to success in a number of areas of your life. And again, going like to speak to the placebo effect, of course, my recall is very limited right now. This is just a rabbit hole I went down, but that'd be a great conversation piece for us to address and to kind of gloss over. I guess this was a bit of a cursory examination,
right?
But going back to what you just said, I think that still is consistent with that element of, thinking if you just do something, you might reap a good benefit.
Right.
Right. But yeah, the placebo effect, I think I missed when that idea or concept came into the picture for humanity.
Let's take a random
And I don't
guess.
I do have this one.
Oh, you have that one? Okay.
Yes.
We got 4 phones in the room and not a single of them we can use.
First world problems.
I know.
But hey, we're living in the first world. Placebo effect. And again, like I said, my recall of this is very limited. And again, none of our takes are definitive.
Right. We don't have all the facts.
Yeah.
We don't know what we're
just
talking about.
nuggets of knowledge we want to speak to.
We're just having fun.
In the limited capacity. Date. So, the placebo effect was first scientifically demonstrated in 1799 by British physician John Haygarth.
1799?
Yes. So he compared the effects of expensive metal rods called Perkins tractors to identical looking wooden tractors. And there's just a plethora of information we could go down, but we don't have the time.
1799?
Crazy, right? Do the math.
What were they doing back in 1799?
I don't know. Beats me. But, and I won't try to do that math. I know it's consumer math, but math is just not my forte.
See, I'm a numbers guy. It's what I do every day.
Yeah, you are a numbers guy. I know, definitely. Yeah.
Spreadsheets, data, all that.
Works for the state of Texas, by the way.
Yes.
A little negative knowledge. And I am a sales rep for Cisco Foods. Yeah, I pretty much bust down doors and beg people to buy anything and everything for me.
So what things do you like? Let's give them a little bit about you. What do you like to do?
Well, I love to work out. Not for my vanity or anything along those lines. I've just always enjoyed the process of seeing discipline in a number of areas contribute to one great end result or effect, so to speak. So I've always enjoyed, the bodybuilding aspect of working out.
Right.
The physical and the mental. Personally, I've always loved the idea of voluntary discomfort. Starting the day like that so that the rest of my day feels like a breeze and nothing holds a candle to it.
Doing your hardest thing first.
Yeah. Setting the standard and just having that non-negotiable standard that I have to address to start my day. So I enjoy the physical aspect of it. It's very therapeutic. It's something that I don't want to do, but upon completing it, there's just a strong and refreshing sense of possibility.
Right.
And so I enjoyed the discipline that goes into showing up when I don't want to show up, eating the foods that I know I should be eating and avoiding the ones that I shouldn't. And seeing the idea of consistency truly producing results.
Right. Because consistency in one area can produce consistency in another.
Right. And so and it's just the idea of seeing, I know if I eat right and I know if I work out, I'm going to get this result. Even on days that I emotionally don't feel like I'm making any progress. I just know science tells me that if I do this and this over X amount of time, this should come. And there's nothing like seeing that come to fruition. And just, I love the application of that because that can easily translate into any other area of your life.
Right.
And so for me, it's been one that's been in the picture for me since 2016. I mean, I got into workout initially because I was bullied. My brother put some dumbbells in my hands to kind of combat that.
Right.
Pun intended. And so after that, I just my admiration and my appreciation for it really matured from a vanity aspect and
your reasons changed.
Yeah, from self-defense and vanity to enjoying, the seeing the concept of just if I know if I do this coupled with this, I'm gonna get this, and so that's translated into other areas of my life, professionally, with relationships. That I know if I do this and I do my part, and obviously God has a lot to do with it. But anyway, I'm going on a tangent. But I love to work out. That's a big part of my life. I love the fitness.
I know you love dancing.
I love the two-step.
Of course.
I love horses. I love working on my horsemanship. I love to rope. What else? I love to read when I have the time, or when I make the time, I should say.
Are you an audiobook guy? Or are you
I like to read.
Hard copy?
I like to read. I like the comprehension.
I
like the comprehension of seeing it.
I'm an audio guy. That's
really
me. Sitting down to read, being ADHD, it's trying to read words and sit there, way too hard for me. But I can walk around the house, do chores, drive to work, listen to a podcast, or listen to a audiobook. So much more retention.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter, like, in all honesty, I was never the greatest reader. It's something that I really had to, because I used to always say, I've always chalked, my excuse was always, I'm dyslexic or ADHD, or I don't even know if I truly am. But it got to the point where I said, okay, if I just sit down and dedicate my time to this and say that I'm not going to stop until I do this, I can do it. And so reading is something that I enjoy. I also love cinema, photography. But yeah, the horsemanship, working out, and just honestly exploring culture and, just mankind's creativity.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah. So
that's
what about you?
So
for the audience, obviously I know you. For the sake of our audience.
One, I love dancing. It's one of my favorite things to do. Like I'm at least out dancing at least one day a week. Yeah. But grew up working on race cars. Grew up dancing. I'll build a project car at some point. I know I will. Yeah. I got an engine in my garage that'll go in something someday. But big into racing and games and all that kind of stuff. Big into music. Love listening to all kinds of different music, finding good music, which is why we decided to bring some music to you guys. Because we're constantly talking about music when we're out dancing, of good songs. And
we live in Austin.
Yeah, we live in Austin.
Music capital, the nation or the world?
With live music capital of the world. Yeah. Which is crazy that Nashville isn't, but anyway.
It's beyond me.
But I love music. I love listening to all kinds of different music. I'm the guy that I don't put on somebody else's playlist unless it's like just a major one that shoves everything together. But most of the time, I'm making my own playlist. Yeah. So that's my guy. I've got a playlist for vibes of like, if I want to go downtown, this is how I want to feel. If I go downtown, if I'm going dancing, this is how I want to feel. If I need to waltz, this is the songs I need to find. Yeah. I've got songs that I know I can act out to when I'm on the dance floor. So if I need to be funny or be cute, whatever I'm trying to do, that's the songs I pull out. So I'm that guy. I pull out all these different...
Excited to show the world.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm constantly sharing music with different people, and it's one thing we wanted to do is just bring some cool music if you're into dancing or
getting into two-stepping
or trying to get into country music. Yeah. We listen to we have very different styles of what we like too. Yeah. But we both know that we like 90s country to dance to. I don't think there's anything better. But
my auditory systems are very diverse.
Mm-hmm. But I'm getting back into church, which has been good. Been checking out a church here in Austin that we'll get into that later.
I guess we can segue into that. Just like we can address what we believe quickly, and then we can obviously dive deeper.
So we're both Christian. Mm-hmm. We constantly have biblical conversations, and I love going into deep dives. I've got a ton of biblical theories myself. I don't know if they're right. And at the end of the day, when we go to heaven and I'm sitting down with Jesus, it probably is not going to matter. But all of my friends back in college, they all know as well that they have said, when I get up there, like, I've got some questions.
Amen to that, brother.
I think we both believe that, you know, Jesus is our Lord and Savior.
Yep.
Came down to die for our sins.
Yes.
And
yeah, so I came to Christ Wednesday, October 6th, 2021 at 11:21 a.m.
Wow, you know exactly.
Yeah, it was a life-changing experience.
We need to go through testimonies. Let's do that.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, I guess we'll do it. We'll do another segment on just our testimonies.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, we both believe that, you know, we were helpless, dead in our transgressions and sins, and God, being good in His character and loving us, and choosing us before we chose Him, sent His one and only Son to live the life we couldn't live, the perfect life. Died on the cross, rose and ascended into heaven. We're seated at the right hand of God, and as we wait for His return, we look to, you know, glorify God in all that we do and be a light in a dark world.
Right.
If that hits the nail on the head, I don't know, but
it does.
Yeah.
That was a lot of rattling on. But yeah, like, we just want to be something positive.
That's what we believe. Yeah.
Like, we want to just try to be as good stewards of our world as we can be. That's our main thing. Is, you know, we've been given a great gift, and
yes,
we want to do the best we can with it.
Yeah.
And if it's somebody out there that wants a couple guys to hang out with, and they're just hanging out at work and not sure, don't have people to talk to, we're inviting you to the conversation. So that's what we're trying to do. We just know that we've had so many good conversations about stuff that...
And we could go on for hours and hours and hours.
Ever and ever.
As long as there's breath in our lungs and our eyes are open in acknowledgement of each other.
And there's more stuff to read.
Yeah.
Which there always is.
Yeah.
But I think that just about covers it.
Almost.
Almost.
Yes, so we'll see you guys next week.
Mm-hmm.
And
we'll have good audio next time. Good video.
And outside of that, I'm pretty happy with this first episode.
It was good.
But all right, guys. Chris and Harley.
Harley.
Checking out. See you next week.
Alrighty.
All right.